Winter can be a lot of fun, but it can also be dangerous, frightening, or deadly. There are some things about cold weather that you need to know in order to take care of yourself or others. First, let's talk about frostbite. What is it? Frostbite is the actual freezing of a part of your body, usually the outermost parts like fingers, toes, ears, nose, or cheeks. Because your hands, feet, and face are the farthest away from your heart, the blood flow in these areas tends to cool faster because they are more exposed. Your body makes its own heat. When you exercise, eat, or even have a fever, your body feels warmer. It is producing heat. But sometimes when you're outside on a cold, windy, or wet day, you feel cold because your body is losing heat. When it's having trouble keeping warm, your body reduces the amount of blood sent to your arms, legs, and head. So you feel cold in those areas, and those areas are more likely to freeze. They actually can freeze when the temperature outside is 32 degrees or less. Tiny little ice crystals form under your skin. Now, once the skin is frostbitten, the damage is done. It's permanently damaged, and the longer it's exposed to the cold, the deeper the damage will be. The frostbitten area will warm up again, but from this time on, you are more likely to feel pain and numbness in that area whenever it's exposed to cold. So how do you avoid frostbite? Well, dressing right for the weather is very important. On winter days when you know that you'll be outside, you should always wear warm gloves or mittens and snow boots. A wool sweater under your coat always helps to keep you warm. Extra layers of clothing form insulation. Shirts, turtlenecks, and sweaters, when worn in layers, trap warm air between each piece of clothing and helps keep you warm. Like the insulation used in the walls of a house, these layers keep the heat in and the cold out. It is important to dress in layers that you can take off or put back on according to the weather conditions. Did you know that a quarter of your body heat is lost through your head? As heat and smoke escape from a chimney, heat also escapes from your head if you don't wear a hat. So wearing a hat will keep your whole body warmer. You need to consider the weather too. The windier the weather, the colder you will feel. This is called the wind chill factor. Windproof clothing like a nylon jacket or coat helps to block out the wind. If you're not dressed right, the longer you're outside, the colder you'll feel. As the temperature drops, you'll become even colder. It is very important that when you start to feel cold, you come inside right away to warm up. Being tired or hungry makes you feel colder because your body is losing energy. Going inside to rest or eat will help to restore your energy and you'll feel warmer. Being wet makes you feel cold faster because wet clothing takes your body heat away at a faster rate. A wet cloth on your forehead when you have a fever may make you feel better, but wet clothes can chill your entire body. So if you get wet, go inside and change your clothes. Put on dry ones. Never stay outside once you feel cold. The combination of cold temperatures, wind, rain, or snow, and staying outside too long can be very dangerous or even deadly. What happens if you or someone else gets frostbitten? What should you look for? One of the first things you'll notice is a mild pain or tingling of the skin, which is soon followed by a numb feeling on an ear, nose, fingers, or your toes. At first, the skin looks red or rosy, but then turns a gray or yellowish color. The skin is still soft and movable, but as the frostbite gets worse, the area feels cold, waxy, and hard. The whitish patch of skin on the cheeks, ears, or nose is a sign of frostbite. When you're outside, watch your friends for signs of frostbite. If someone is frostbitten, what should you do? The most important thing is to cover the area and go inside. The longer you stay outside, the worse the frostbite will get. Once inside, apply direct body heat. Cover the frostbitten area with a warm hand, or put it in warm water, about the temperature of bath water. Don't rub the area because that may cause more damage. Handle it gently. When it returns to a normal or rosy color, exercise, wiggle, or move it around. While frozen, it should not be exercised or rubbed, but after warming up. Exercise will increase the blood flow or circulation to the area and help it to get better. Once the area is thawed out, it should be protected from the cold in order to avoid worse injury. A warm drink will often make the person feel better. If a blister forms, see a doctor immediately. This is a very painful condition and medical care is needed right away. To review, basic treatment is to cover the frostbitten area, go inside, apply direct body heat or put in warm water, and call a doctor if blisters appear. Another cold weather danger to watch out for is hypothermia, which is the loss of normal body temperature caused by too much exposure to cold. It happens when your body is losing heat faster than it can produce or keep it. Hypothermia can kill you, and surprisingly, it often happens when the temperature is not that cold, sometimes between 30 and 50 degrees. How can that happen? Getting wet can make a big difference.
You don't fall in either.
Oh!
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Let's go.
The combination of cold, wind, and water, as in blizzard conditions or falling into a cold stream or lake, can make a situation worse. When a person falls into icy water on a cold day, he loses body heat about 30 times faster than normal because the water draws heat away from the body faster than air of the same temperature. Wet clothing causes rapid heat loss. A person who gets hypothermia may also get frostbite, but of the two conditions, hypothermia is life-threatening. As mentioned before, when a person is cold for a long period of time, his body temperature, which is usually 98.6 degrees, begins to drop. He starts to shiver. As his body temperature continued to drop 1 to 3 degrees more, he will begin to shake and shiver uncontrollably. He may stumble, trip, or fall, and may not be able to use his hands well. He may also act confused, not be able to remember simple things, and have trouble speaking.
Dad, the car's this way. Dad, the car's this way.
Okay.
The person who is experiencing the first signs of hypothermia is not aware of what is happening to him. He may even tell you that he feels fine.
Ben, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Ben, you're not acting fine.
I'm all right.
But because his blood is not circulating normally, his brain is not getting enough oxygen, so he can't think clearly. Although he may tell you he's fine, you have to decide for yourself. Believe the symptoms, not the person. Even mild symptoms need immediate attention and treatment. As he gets colder and colder, his temperature drops 6 to 10 degrees. He stops shivering and his body becomes stiff. His skin looks blue or puffy. He may do stupid things like take off his coat. Eventually he gets sleepy, feels exhausted, and may lose consciousness. At this point, his breathing and heart may stop. Death can occur within 2 hours from the start of symptoms. In a very bad situation, such as falling into a mountain stream on a cold and windy day, death can happen sooner. Once the body temperature falls below 94 degrees, it is no longer able to rewarm itself. A person in this condition cannot help himself. He needs your help. If you think someone is showing the signs of hypothermia, for example, not being able to pick up a glove, zip a coat, or stop shivering, immediately get him out of the wind, rain, or snow. Find shelter. If the person is wet, get all his wet clothes off. Put on dry if possible and wrap him up in blankets or a sleeping bag. Be sure he's wrapped up all over and put a hat on his head to prevent further heat loss. A warm drink may help him to feel better. Alcoholic drinks cause a person to lose heat faster and should never be given. This would make his condition worse. If the person is sleepy and confused, try to keep him awake. Talk to him and keep his attention. Handle him carefully. Do not be rough. If you are caught in the woods and cannot get to a car or cabin, find shelter out of the wind and make a fire. Often during the summer on a raft or fishing trip, a person who has hypothermia is put in a sleeping bag with one or two other people who hug him to keep him warm. Their normal body heat through skin-to-skin contact is used to rewarm him. Once a person loses consciousness when he can't be woken up, the best thing to do is to keep him wrapped up so he doesn't get colder. Get help, and then gently and very carefully take him to a hospital. Even though the person may seem dead, doctors at a hospital can sometimes save his life. To review, the basic treatment for hypothermia is to prevent further heat loss, remove wet clothes if necessary, and wrap him in a sleeping bag or blankets. If the person is unconscious, get help and take him gently to a hospital as quickly as possible. So now you know about the dangers of frostbite and hypothermia. But what would you do if you were stranded in a car during a winter storm? For example, you're with your family, traveling down a highway and you have car trouble or accidentally slide off the road. The car won't go and you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere with no house in sight. What should you do? Don't panic. Stay calm and stay in your car. Don't try to walk for help. Your chances of survival are best in your car, not outside where you might get frostbitten, hypothermic, lost, or worse.
I'm Lieutenant Jim Pond from the Albany County Sheriff's Office. Not too long ago, we were involved in a search for a young person who became lost when her vehicle got stuck in a snowdrift not too far from here. She violated all the rules of safety in driving in winter conditions by leaving her vehicle. We searched for several days for her and couldn't find her. 4 months later, a sheep herder found the body in a desolate area away from her vehicle. It was later found that she had died from hypothermia. Had she remained with her vehicle, she would have been found within days of her being reported missing. Most of all, and what is important in this situation, is stay with your vehicle. That's where your shelter and safety will be, and that's where we can find you.
If you are stranded on a well-traveled road, show a trouble sign such as a red or orange cloth tied to the antenna or warning signals flashing. Stay in your car and wait for help to arrive. Wrap up in a blanket, sleeping bag, seat covers, or floor mats, or sit close to another person for added warmth. The car heater can be turned on occasionally, but be sure that the car's exhaust pipe is not blocked by snow. If it is, dig it out and make sure that it is clear each time the heater is turned on in order to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Also, open a window just a crack occasionally to provide a little fresh air. Wait out the storm. Eventually someone will find you, either family or friends, another traveler, or the highway patrol, and then you'll be safe. Because we live in a place where unexpected and bad weather can develop quickly, it's smart to keep emergency supplies in your trunk. A sleeping bag, several blankets, extra hat and gloves, water, some food like candy or nuts, an empty coffee can for a toilet, matches, flashlight, and a shovel are things that you might need. To review, if you're stranded during a winter storm and there is no help nearby, stay in your car and wait for help to arrive. Use the heater occasionally, but beware of carbon monoxide poisoning. Keep emergency supplies in your car. It's good to be prepared and know what to do in case of an emergency. You've learned that some cold weather situations can be very dangerous, but knowing what to do and telling others can prevent injuries and save lives.